It is July 5th, 2020, and I am back for another Garden Diaries update. Earlier tonight, after the garden was in the shade, which we have this great big pine tree that provides us shade starting like 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I mixed up some neem oil we got from Tractor Supply this week. We got some neem oil and BT. The stuff contains BT. I will try to share that in the next video, the actual bottles of that. Both of them are organic. The BT is specifically for cabbage worms, which I have been struggling with really bad on the green cabbage and the broccoli. They haven't really been hitting the purple cabbage. But you dilute the BT, and it was half a tablespoon per gallon. And you spray it on your plants, and when the cabbage worms eat it, they will die. So you can see the damage I've been getting on my cabbage. It's pretty severe. But they say that with the BT, the cabbage worm will eat like just that little bit right there, and that will kill them. So I sprayed everything really generously. It's also good for tomato worms and hookworms, so I went ahead and sprayed the tomato plants too. Not real heavy, but just a little bit so it's there. The neem oil, that was diluted 1 tablespoon per half gallon, and the BT was half a tablespoon per half gallon. I may have said that wrong earlier. And I heavily sprayed the eggplant because of the flea beetles. And just since I've sprayed them, there's a huge difference, and there is hardly any flea beetles on the plants. Now this eggplant specifically is doing really well. It's huge, and it's got some flowers that are getting ready to bloom. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know, they look just terrible, but the new leaves look really good. I also sprayed the potatoes with the neem oil due to the flea beetles. The neem oil is also good for aphids and other pests in general. It also said it was good for mildew problems. So I sprayed the squash over there real heavily with the neem oil. I was really heavy on the squash because of the amount of mildew I'm having. Now I'm not watering tonight because it did storm yesterday at some point. This morning we came and we found this bell pepper plant had fell over. So I took some loose soil from this row right here, and we hilled it up, and it still wasn't wanting to stand on its own, so we put a tomato cage around it. We do have a bell pepper forming on it, so hoping it makes it. I did water it lightly just because I imagine it's going through a lot of shock right now. We did also have a banana pepper that had fell over. And it was that one right there. So I went ahead and picked the banana peppers off of it too. And I just got some soil and put around the base of it to try to give it some support. These tomatoes had already been clearly dying during last week's video. I'm not going to pull them because my experience with pulling the plants that are dying is that it seems like whatever is causing them to die goes to another plant. So I'm leaving them in the ground. We have another banana pepper that's not doing too good. I'm really thinking there's some kind of disease going on because everything that's dying is like in the same little area. I did notice this week that our spaghetti squash, which is planted over there, has grown through the cucumbers all the way and is coming out of this tomato plant. And it is so tangled into it that there's no way I can get it out. But here it is, and it is wanting to latch on to everything. I'm going to get over there by the squash and show you how that's doing. I am having tomatoes. Tomatoes are forming now. They look really good. We have banana peppers. We picked 6 banana peppers earlier today. They were a little too green. We're going to be gone for the next couple days, so we're going to see what they look like when we come back. See if they get bigger and if they're big enough. Okay, here's the spaghetti squash. There's one spaghetti squash growing right there, and there's another spaghetti squash right there. As you can see, the mildew powder has really taken over the spaghetti squash. And the spaghetti squash, because it's growing on everything else, I believe it is spreading mildew to my squash and my zucchini and my cucumbers. So I heavily sprayed all of this with that neem oil. I'm curious to see what it looks like in a couple days when we get back. But everything is doing good. The mildew's there, but it is doing really good. The cucumbers, they're going crazy. They have climbed to the top of these trellises on their own. I did not have to train them. We do also have a cucumber that's growing up this sunflower. As you can see right here, this is cucumber and not sunflower. Yeah, so this is one of the mammoth Russians, so I'm curious to see if it will actually hold the cucumber. If not, we'll make sure to pick the cucumbers off before it pulls my sunflowers down. The sunflowers, they're doing really good. Some of them are still really small, but they are getting bigger, so I think they're going to do okay. One of the solar eclipse sunflowers is starting to form a flower. This one right here. So pretty excited to see that one. I think it's going to be red and white, but I don't know. I planted all different colors, so I'm really excited just to see all of it together. The zucchini and squash, I picked quite a few this week. I had a full basket full. There is definitely some more to pick, but I'm not wanting to pick anything until we come back from being gone. I don't want to be sitting in the hot kitchen if it can get more nutrients. I know I don't really like the zucchini and squash when it gets too big. I don't know. It just makes me feel better for it to be in the garden. So we'll see what we come back to on Wednesday. Oh, also the beans, which have been kind of quiet for the last couple of videos, they are climbing up the sunflowers like crazy. As you can see here, it makes me think of Jack and the Beanstalk. There's one over here that's doing really well. I mean, it's going nuts all the way up and down these mammoth Russians. Cucumbers, I've been picking a lot of cucumbers. I made a killer cucumber salad with some heirloom cherry tomatoes I had bought and some onion. It was a recipe by Whippoorwill Hollow. It was just to die for. Everyone loved it. Kids loved it. Could you imagine? But this is where we're at. July 5th, 2020. I might do another video middle of the week, just because there's a lot happening right now with everything. It's doing good. You know, we're still having some casualties. But as far as what we're getting out of everything, it's doing amazing. Oh, I would like to say the potatoes, they are dying off, which I think means they're going to be ready soon. I don't like to dig up my potatoes until the leaves completely die, because then I know the nutrients have went back into the potato. And if I have the time, then maybe I'll plant another crop of that this year. But until then, I'll either see you later this week or next Sunday.